Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Welcome to the Call All Millionaires. My name is Alma Nancy, and it is definitely a pleasure to be the host of these calls. Thank you all so very much for calling in, and I'd like to welcome each and every one of you to the self-esteem development training called Obsessed with Success. If this is your first time calling in, just to let you know, we do have these calls each and every Wednesday, and they are always filled with strategies and tips on self-esteem development, entrepreneurship, as well as secrets of the super wealthy. Now, Mr. Ali has been using these same tips and strategies to help out thousands of people across the United States. And I've been listening to these calls for over a year now, and they have totally changed my life. Now, I have the honor and the privilege to introduce to the line Mr. Haziq Ali. Mr. Ali has a talent for bringing out the best in people and seeing gifts in them that they do not even see in themselves. He helps out people for a living, but he would totally do it for free. He's been an entrepreneur his entire life, and this is why we actually call him an entrepreneurologist. Mr. Ali is an author, a self-esteem development expert, my personal coach, mentor, and my friend. Now, coming up to the line is Mr. Haziq Ali. Are you on the line, sir?
Yes, I am. Can you hear me, Miss Nancy?
Yes, I can hear you loud and clear. Please take it away.
Okay, welcome, millionaires, to episode number 144 of Obsessed with Success. This is episode 144, and this one is all about the major keys to consumer psychology. Steve Jobs had famously said, people don't know what they want until you show it to them. Think about that for a minute. Now, this is a guy that was famous for introducing all these consumer electronics that just literally revamped the way we see life, right? Whole new product categories. There was no such thing as an iPod or an iPad. It's like, what the heck is that? As a result, I could see how that would make him lose a little bit of respect for consumer acumen. For most companies, though, in 2017, you got to admit, consumer psychology is a lot less of a guessing game than it's ever been. There are all kinds of metrics being run constantly to help you figure out and manipulate how your potential customers are going to respond and react to the stimuli that you present, or that is presented to them by outside forces like the news, pop culture, however you want to judge it, engage it. Selling to consumers has not become any easier, but figuring out why they buy has changed everything. A lot of businesses struggle with consumer psychology because consumers don't really behave in rational ways. Most people can't answer the simple question of why they want the things they want. See, our brain drives our decision-making process in ways we really don't even have any cognizance of. It's like why we're making the decisions we make, we have no idea. But there's a way to find out. If you ask many people, about a specific product or service they like, they can't even tell you why they want it or don't want it. That's what consumer psychology is all about. Getting people and getting yourself into the unconscious territory with these people where they're being directed to make purchases for reasons they aren't even clear about. When you as an entrepreneur labor to understand customer psychology, business and marketing, and the results that you'll get from your conversations become way more predictable and, in a way, a lot more compassionate. Because at the end of the day, millionaires, you got to remember, you're really in business to help people solve their problems, aren't you? So if you're here to help them solve their problems, and we can see really, really clearly that they're not getting how good this would be for them, doesn't it help to have some psychology at your disposal that can help you climb some of these brick walls that get put up for you? So what we said we were going to do is cover 11 major keys to consumer psychology. This is 11. There are untold of them, right, because the brain is an incredible device. But we're going to go over 11 really major ones that I think will change your perspective on a lot of the things that we do every day, and it will help you to become aware when these people are playing with you, because they are constantly playing with you. I don't know how many of you saw I just did like one of those Instagram videos and Insta Snap or Snapgram. And I was just talking about how, if you think about it, when they're playing all of those string music when the love scene comes on in the movies, or when you're watching one of the highest paid comedians on the planet acting a sitcom and it's still playing a laugh track in the background, even when they're giving you statistics, and we'll get to this in a minute, when they're telling you on the news what 73% of people believe, they are playing with your mind. But let's move on because we got a lot to cover. My whole thing is, if we know that they're playing with our minds, isn't it helpful to kind of know how they're doing it so that we can kind of protect ourselves a little bit? Now, on the flip side, as a business owner, obviously you can use some of these for good, not evil, because these are some very powerful techniques you're about to receive. But I also want it to be not just offense, but defense. We are constantly being toyed with. And if we don't learn to lower our debt, lower our expenses, and lower our taxes, we'll never raise our cash flow. We'll never become wealthy. I want to teach you how they're playing with you so that you can protect your wallet and your bank account and your credit card balance. All right? Here we go. So major key number 1, the fear factor. Okay, listen to this. Your home is a cesspool filled with hundreds of strains of evil bacteria waiting to infect your innocent child as he crawls along the kitchen floor, sticking plastic toy blocks in his mouth. Don't laugh. Do you know that one single bacteria cell explodes into more than 8 million cells in less than 24 hours? And that invisible microbes of all kinds can cause everything from athlete's foot to diarrhea, everything from the common cold to the flu, meningitis, pneumonia, sinusitis, skin diseases, strep throat, a lot more. Well, what's the solution? Lysol disinfectant spray. It kills 99.9% of germs on contact. No matter how let's do another one. No matter how much you wash your sheets, your bed is an insect breeding ground teeming with thousands of hideous crab-like dust mites aggressively laying eggs in your pillow and mattress, causing you and your family to suffer year-long allergy attacks. While you sleep, they actually wake up and start to crawl, eat your skin flakes, and drink the moisture on your flesh. It gets worse. Did you know that 10% of the weight of a 2-year-old pillow is actually dead mites and their feces? This means that every night you and your family are sleeping in the equivalent of an insect's toilet, actually covered in this sort of blanket, a comforter of both living and dead bodies and oceans of their bitter excrement. That would be feces. So what's the solution? Oh, anti-mite mattress covers and pillowcases. They help reduce allergy symptoms associated with dust mite infestation. The special fabric's tightly crafted pores don't allow microscopic mites to enter your mattress, nest, and breed. Your family enjoys a more peaceful night's rest, and it's so affordable. The mattress covers are only $60, and the pillowcases are less than $10 each. They're right there at your fine internet retailer. Right? You can find these ads everywhere. Why does this work, though? Because fear sells. That's the bottom line. It motivates. It urges. It moves people to action. It makes them spend money. When they tell you the storm is coming, they clear out the store shelves. Fear makes you a better customer. Social psychologists and consumer researchers have been studying the effects of fear for more than 50 years. Write this down. Since we're on this subject, write this down. There is a documentary you've got to watch called Century of Self. What I'm going to do is I'm going to post it on our We Are Millionaire Minded Facebook page. If you have not liked the We Are Millionaire Minded Facebook page, then do so, ASAP. I'm going to post a documentary that is going to blow your mind on there that talks about how long they've been studying consumer psychology. It all came from a guy named Edward Bernays, who was Sigmund Freud's nephew. He's also the reason Sigmund Freud didn't die broke and penniless, because he took all of his psychology studies on groupthink and mass psychology, and he applied them to power. He applied them to human quests for power. He advised multiple presidents all with his uncle's teachings. He's the one who told Henry Ford to make cars in more than one color because then you'll want to buy more than one. He's the one that helped to facilitate the first department stores ever because for the first time after the Industrial Revolution, people had this new thing called free time, and now they could, for the first time, go and buy things that just they wanted, not just stuff they needed, but stuff they wanted to satiate their ego, right? And we'll get to that in a minute, but my point is they are playing with you, and fear is one of the main ways they do it. Whether it's selling a loaf of bread, which doesn't seem all that scary. So you start talking about how refined white flour might be a carcinogen. Why does this work? Why does this work? Stress. Fear causes stress, and stress causes desire to do something, right? Get rid of the stress. Missing a big sale causes a stress of loss. Choosing the right tires causes a stress of concern for personal safety. Not opting for the optional side airbags in your new car, that causes a stress of future regret, visions of physical injury. I'm telling you, I hate these Geico commercials where they just show you accidents. You cannot tell me they're not making accidents go up in those areas where they run those commercials. The person just chilling, walking around, riding in the car, and it's like, boom. It just ruins that person's day, and it ruins mine too because I saw the commercial, right? That's why TV is an idiot box. Here's my point, though. Fear paints a picture of necessary response. It tells your prospect that he or she will be somehow damaged. And this threatens the number one rule, which is self-preservation. Therefore, the threat of being damaged is insidious and powerful. And can you use it for your products and services? Of course you can. So here's a 4-step recipe for doing it. Step one. You want to induce fear with your product or service, or if you want to observe how they're inducing fear in you. Step number one is to notice that, one, it's got to be really, really scary. It's got to scare the hell out you. Number two, it offers a specific recommendation for overcoming that fear-arousing threat, right? Number three, the recommendation action is perceived as effective for reducing the threat. 4, the message recipient, that is the consumer, be it you or be it your own customer, believes he or she can perform the action. The success of any strategy that's going to use fear, millionaires, hinges on your ability to use all 4. Not 1 or 2 or 3, but all 4. The success of the strategy relies on the idea that all 4 components exist. If you remove any of them, I mean, it's like building your own computer and you left out the hard drive. It's like building a car and you left out the engine. I mean, it just isn't going to work. Now, quick caveat before we kind of describe each of the 4. If you use too much fear, they're not going to move. You're going to paralyze them, like the girl who falls in the old horror movie right in front of the monster. Fear can paralyze. And what it'll do is, and what you got to remember is that when it does what you want it to do, it's because you've given them an easy button. They're going to act only if they believe that they have the power to change their situation. I hope that makes sense. In order to craft an effective appeal to somebody's fear, you got to have specific, believable recommendations for reducing the threat that you're bringing up. All right, so let's just say you have a karate school, you're selling self-defense training, you teach people to walk around with the confidence of a trained bodyguard, right? Right? Now, you're making them, they're ready to counter even the most vicious attacks in a parking lot or wherever, right? Now, here's the fact. You got to give them more than just the gruesome crime statistics. You got to also convince your prospect that it's within their ability, using your system, to fight off an attacker using their bare hands. If you ignore this part, all you've done is scare somebody. You've also got to convince them using factors that boost credibility, which we'll get to in a minute, all that stuff like testimonials and demonstrations, even if it's on YouTube or on your Facebook, free lessons, all kinds of things you can do to add value. But here's the point. All you're doing is scaring her if you don't convince her that she can pull it off, that she can enjoy the benefits you're promising. He wants to believe you because you're making an appealing claim, but it's your job to help them believe you, and that's going to take more than just scaring somebody. This fear thing, another thing about this fear, is that it's a lot more successful if the targets if these sort of fear targets that you're pointing out are specific and widely recognized. It's a lot easier to sell your sunscreen to a human because everybody knows the sun can fry you, especially if you're a little lighter, right? It'll fry you like bacon. But it's going to be a lot harder to sell some laundry detergent that protects your clothes from ultraviolet rays. Why? Because that doesn't exactly keep us awake at night. In other words, your goal ain't to create new fears. Your goal is to tap into existing fears, either the ones that are way on the front of the consumer's mind or those that might take a little bit of digging. Listen, a third option is you can just create it. How many of you have heard of halitosis? Do you know Listerine created that word back in 1900? Right? Back when they first came out with deodorant for the ladies, they would come out with articles that would make women question, quote, their daintiness. Right? They would start talking about all the bacteria that lives in, quote, the curve of a woman's arm. Well, if you look at it now, Listerine got like the majority of the market share for mouthwash. I mean, the vast majority. And then women's deodorant. I mean, literally, that particular company, they don't exist anymore, but they boosted their sales 112%, which is a headline. Now, today, that same company has Purell, which is like the world's biggest selling brand of hand sanitizer. But my point is they use it all with fear. A common way fear is used to stimulate action is when you use deadlines and scarcity. When you use slogans like limited offer or one-day sale or while supplies last, it scares them into believing unless they act now, they're going to miss the opportunity. It's fear of loss. The deadline tactic also kind of like, see, the beauty of a deadline is that it's underlining you've got a way to take yourself out of harm's way. That's the beauty of a deadline. You're letting them know, like, not only can you fix your problem, but you better hurry up and fix it. That is powerful when you use it the right way. My granddaddy always used to say that Macy's has a sale to announce that they're lowering the prices where they should have been anyway. But it always made me laugh because if you're on their list, which I guess I am apparently, every month they're having another sale. If it's July 4th, if it's July, back to school, if it's August, Labor Day, if it's September, they've got a sale every single month. It's amazing how this stuff works. But let's keep on going. Because a lot of times when they use these sales, they use in principle number 2, which are called ego judo. Ego judo. Think about it. When you see these ads and the man is sitting there and he's in the hot tub surrounded by the beautiful women and it's because of the beer he's drinking, isn't it your ego? It's not your craving for this, in my opinion, foul-smelling liquid, right? It's your ego, isn't it? When you see the Victoria's Secret models in their long, lacy undergarments or short, long silky hair, piercing eyes, it's your ego. It's not the directorial style of the commercial, right? It's ego judo. They're using your own ego against you. Can you imagine that they came out with a study? It's called the Foundation for Egomorphing. Right? There was this book called The Age of Propaganda. The Age of Propaganda. Basically, what this report detailed and proved was that by purchasing the right stuff, the consumer can enhance their ego and rationalize away inadequacies. In other words, millionaires, there's a way you can buy your problems away, or so we think. We can actually buy things and make up for what we think is lacking in our personalities. Can you imagine that? Have you ever heard of retail therapy? Could it be that advertisers are actually performing, some kind of self-esteem boosting behaviors? Sometimes it is true. They are. Can you believe that? You are doing people a service by selling them things sometimes. That's pretty amazing. But this is the world we live in. It is possible that you could actually be assisting your customers' self-image just by getting them to buy something. Now, it's interesting because this technique, when you're talking about ego judo, it allows you to create a certain image or an identity for a product in order to appeal to a particular section of the audience that feels their identity or their personal image could match it or be improved by it. Your goal is to cause consumers to become so entrenched and associated with the image of the product that it becomes a part of their own identity. I don't know if you've ever heard that people don't buy your product. They buy your why. Write that down, because that sums it all up. People don't buy your product. They buy your why. And the beauty of this is that persuading this way ain't even difficult. You don't have to work hard to persuade a woman to want to be sexier and more in control. You ain't got to work hard to persuade a man to want to be more powerful and self-confident and appealing to women. This stuff's built in. It's pre-wired into our being. And because the majority of true prospects for your product already believe they possess these ideas and values, all you're doing is letting them prove it to everybody that's watching. All you're doing is giving them a way to express what they feel about themselves to the outside world. I hope you're catching this. In other words, you can appeal to vanity and ego without even needing to convince nobody. Next time you look at a luxury product, I want you to notice the lack of kind of like persuasive copy. You don't see a lot of words trying to convince the person. All you see is some image. You'll see some tiger sitting inside the Rolls Royce or something, right? Oh, look at all the women climbing over this guy in these jeans. I really want those jeans. That's all it takes. And you're laughing, but if it didn't work, you wouldn't see that with Hollister, Abercrombie, and Fitch. You wouldn't see Lexus, BMW, Jaguar, Rolls Royce just using these types of, all they're doing is ego judo. Look at perfume. Look at cologne, millionaires. Be honest with me. Are the models even wearing that crap in the photo shoot? 9 times out of 10, they are not. Why? Because the cologne probably wasn't even out yet. So what are we saying? We're saying that all they do is show some photos of some hot-looking women or some attractive guy, and we're supposed to believe that they're customers? Other than that, we ain't even smelled it. We don't even know how it smells. Other than those ladies who assault you when you walk through the department store with them little sharp pieces of cardboard, you don't even know how it smells. It's like, no, I can't even smell anything else. The last 4 cents are still in my nose, right? But do you know that last year, cologne sales hit 2.4 billion? Women's fragrances, another 4.8 billion with a B. This is appealing to vanity and ego. That's all it is. You've got to watch it. You've got to make sure that you aren't being presented with, quote, the correct images and being manipulated. Because people who possess the characteristics that they portray, that they present, that they transmit through their marketing, their ads, their posters, those people will buy them in order to publicize their ego. Millionaires, those who don't, will still purchase them in an attempt to appear like they do. Right? I just described a whole segment of population, didn't I? We ain't even going to get started. But think about your product. Does owning it or using it or joining it success qualities that people would want to flaunt? Think about it. What you have to understand is that you're living in a world where people don't, and I know I said this earlier, but I want you to think about it, people don't even know why they respond the way they respond. So that brings us to number 3. Number 3, we would call credibility by association. CBA, credibility by association. You know, you got some marketer right now screaming like, I don't understand. You know, this is the best ad I've ever written. Look at that layout. Look at that gorgeous photo. My price is right. I make it easy for people to order. This paper has incredible circulation. This blog is getting all these hits. I know people are seeing it. And I know my product really helps people. Why isn't anybody ordering? Why aren't they beating down my door? Why isn't my phone going off the hook? Well, I'll tell you why. Nobody believes them. It doesn't matter how wonderful your ad or brochure or commercial or video. It doesn't matter how much value you get. Listen, your prospects don't believe you. You done flush that money down the toilet. Your offer has to be credible, or you'll expect the same crummy results as the guy we was just not talking about. It's simple. They don't believe you. You need more people. So transfer, when you're talking about credibility by association, what you're doing is using a transfer strategy where now you can take on a symbol or an image or an idea. You can take on cues, if you will, that will make it so that people associate you with people, groups, or institutions that they give authority to and respect. In order to persuade your prospect that your product or service is in some way acceptable, that it's in some way endorsed by the people they love, all you got to do is attach it to something. Right away, your brain will spit out instant credibility. I mean, let's just say you're not sure which way to vote. There's some new stop and frisk law or some crap like that, right? And you're not sure how to vote. But then you get a flyer in the mail from the Fraternal Order of Police, right? What are you thinking instantly? Credibility. You're like, oh, man, if the police like it, then maybe it's decent. Or maybe you're like, if the police like it, then maybe I should not like it. It depends on your perspective, doesn't it? But my whole point is that it's adding credibility. If you respect them, you're a lot more likely to check it out, aren't you? If you don't respect them, then they messed up sending that to you. They didn't study their audience very well. Here's my point, though. If you look around and you kind of like observe a lot of the ads, a lot of the commercials that you're given, they're always playing with your mind, right? Human inertia, which is another word for laziness, makes it so that instead of you having to do your own research, I can show you this logo and your job is done. You're like, oh, they have an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. It's good. Listen, beware, buyer beware. But if you're an entrepreneur, be happy because all of this helps you, and most of these people are sheep. True or true? Now, if you can't get a full endorsement, if you can't get Wilford Brimley to come on and tell you for sure in a no uncertain manner that, yes, oatmeal lowers cholesterol, man, you can still get a testimonial, or you can still get a logo. How many of you know the Good Keeping seal of approval, the Good Housekeeping seal of approval? How many of you guys know this? The Good Housekeeping seal of approval, this is, one of the most genius concepts that I've ever come across. You want to talk about credibility by association? Let's look at the Good Housekeeping seal of approval. This little logo has instilled pre-purchase confidence in millions of customers since 1909. Millions. The seal is only awarded to those products whose ads have been reviewed and accepted for publication in Good Housekeeping magazine. The publisher promises a refund or replacement for defective products within 2 years of purchase. Not only is this a great added value inducement to purchase ad, with Good Housekeeping, be it the blog or the magazine, right? But it's also an incredible example of how a trusted group symbol can give you power too. It can give your prospect a sense of security in your product before they even whip out the cash. Just like any other guarantee, it could actually help you close the sale if you construct it more properly. Here's the point. I remember I was in a seminar. One of my mentors was talking about like how he was helping out a hypnotist, right? And they just didn't have any way to separate him from all these other hypnotists because they were in Vegas. Man, this guy, he created something called the National Guild of Hypnotists. Logo look official as a referee with the whistle. Man, they literally invented the organization. You get that? Not one of the people that got this postcard had ever heard of the National Guild of Hypnotists. But do you know it don't matter? Thanks to what they call the peripheral route to persuasion, which takes advantage of people's laziness, it don't even matter. all most consumers need for that added boost of confidence is to see that logo. To simplify it, here's what happened. Your prospects, one, they see a symbol of credibility, be it a logo, an endorsement, a testimonial. And then two, they question less of your sales argument. Man, you're like, what do I do with this? I'm going to tell you what to do with this. Think about which person, what people, what organizations in your industry have a reputation that carries respect. So if you got them to endorse your business, product, or service, you could capitalize on that transfer of respect. Who in your phone book, who in your circle has respect? Because if you can find techniques and strategies that appeal to large ranges of the population, you're going to make money a lot quicker. You're going to be financially free a lot quicker. But let's move on to that. Since that one right there was kind of like sort of like osmosis, since that was like credibility through association. What if I told you that major key number 4 to affecting the minds of the consumers you're dealing with, or to keep your own mind from being affected, is to be aware of the bandwagon effect. Number 4 is the bandwagon effect. Listen, humans are social beings. Can we agree with that? True or true, right? And us being social beings, we have this powerful psychological need to belong. I mean, think about it. Back in the day, like there's this documentary that's insane called Cosmos. It is incredible, from Neil deGrasse Tyson. But it breaks down how a long time ago our ancestors understood that if they wanted to maximize chances for survival, they needed to form groups. And they needed to be groups of like-minded individuals, even if the whole way we're alike is that we don't want to get eaten by some monster turtle or something. You know, pardon me if monster turtles weren't alive, but you get my point. They lived in groups. They hunted in groups. They protected each other in what? Groups. Everybody had a vital role that contributed to the success of the whole tribe. When the group ate, you ate. When the group slept, you slept. When the group did well, you get it. So listen, we don't live like that. Now, with that said, membership in some kind of identification with different groups is critically important for our happiness. It's critically important for our emotional development. We have a need for friends, a romantic relationship, marriage, children. We join social clubs, fraternities, sororities. We go to community events and participate, religious services. We form business organizations. We even form street gangs. Keep it real. That's all a street gang is. We often wear shirts, caps, bumper stickers that proclaim our associations, right? All this makes us feel accepted and valuable and important. You guys always hear me talking about Abraham Maslow and his hierarchy of needs. This morning on Affirmation Nation, we're talking about his hierarchy of learning, of education, like how you learn something new. But listen, you guys remember the hierarchy of human needs? Well, the need to belong is third. It's only third to physiological needs, which is always the first, food, clothing, and shelter. Then safety needs, security, stability, and freedom from fear. The third one is always going to be the need to belong. Now, once those first two needs have been satisfied, belonging, or love, which is usually found if you're talking about families, friendships, membership, and association, that's what becomes the top priority after you knock out those first two. So what are the 3 types of groups? Regardless of the group's purpose, there are 3 types of groups. Since we're talking about bandwagons, write these down. The first type of group is aspirational. Aspirational. Those are groups you want to belong to. Then you have associative. Those are groups that share your ideals and values. And then you have disassociative. Those are groups you do not want to belong to. So millionaires, all you have to do is link your product or service to any of these 3 reference groups, and you can persuade your prospects to do what you want them to do. It uses more peripheral, or let's be honest, let's call it what it is, superficial thought to persuade them. Now, why does that work? It's because the consumer's purchase is based all the way on his sense of belonging, and it has nothing to do with the merits of the product. The need for group membership is a strong psychological drive, no doubt about that. And in its pursuit, most consumers will forego the need for an active, deep analysis of what you're selling. Well, man, it feels like we said that's another shortcut to persuasion then. And this is more than just something that sounds good. Steck and Bernstein, this think tank, right? They came up with back in 2099, something like that, this whole strategy that consensus implies correctness, right? Consensus implies correctness. In other words, statistics are trying to manipulate you. This study proved that if a large enough group holds a favorable opinion about a product, then that opinion must be correct. But to which group do you attempt to link your prospects? Here's a rule of thumb. If you're seeking aspirational group influence, people your prospects aspire to be similar to, you got to make your prospects you easily identify with them. All right, so let's say you're selling a bicycle seat, right? And it's some professional bicycle seat. I mean, it makes them feel like they're floating on a cushion of air instead of sitting on a bunch of bricks, right? Pallet nails, right? Well, immediately your research tells you that your target market is around 34 years old. This tells you then that you would not be wise to target a bunch of old men and women. You also don't want slow, casual, everyday Joe riders on their way to a family picnic or a lunch. Likewise, your main photo shouldn't be of some unknown bicycler, even if he or she is your best customer who happens to spend $1,000 in parts and service every month. Why? Well, remember the group that we listed second, aspirational. No, that was the first group, aspirational. These just aren't the people that your group aspires to emulate. Your audience don't want to be the guy next door. They want to be Lance Armstrong. Featuring pros encourages your prospects to believe that, hey, by using your seat, they can be more similar to their heroes. I hope you're catching this. Successfully gaining associative group influence is more complex. This strategy makes you have to link your product to a certain societal group, often while alienating others. That's why they always say with any good magnet, you're approached with very much most. See, the thing you got to realize is that if you want to associate your product, you're looking to appeal to the attitudes and values they already have. If you want to disassociate your product, then you're kind of veering away from stuff that you know your audience doesn't agree with. Do you know the gap? It's literally talking to the generation gap. Back in '69 when they opened their doors, the whole idea of the gap was that the items inside were so unlike what your parents were wearing. Now, the Gap has 3,100 stores. You hear me? Banana Republic, Old Navy, those are all the Gap. They're at revenues of over $20 billion. But you think they're the only ones that have done the associative or the disassociative strategy? Listen to these slogans. Walgreens, the pharmacy what? America Trusts. Or Jif Peanut Butter. Choosy moms choose what? Jif. Eucerin, the #1 dermatologist recommended brand for dry skin. Glacial Water, the #1 brand in vended water. I mean, Camel cigarettes even had a slogan at one point where they were like, more doctors smoke Camels than any other cigarette. I mean, can you imagine? You can appeal to your prospect's desire by looking at a bunch of different categories. Think about it. Age. That's what the Gap did. Class. Sex. Geographic. Politics. Education. If you associate your products and services with that entire category of people, man, you're on your way. But you got to think, does your product even lend itself to using this human need to belong? If it does, don't just think about ways to describe its features and benefits. Put at least equal effort into telling your prospects how buying your product makes them aspirational, keeps them associative, or helps them show the world that they're not a part of a particular group, which is disassociative. Before your prospects are willing to buy anything, they must first be motivated enough to do so. This next technique is based upon one of the classic psychological theories of motivation. Of course, I'm talking about means to an end. Means to an end. Means to an end theory is real simple. It's saying, don't buy my product for what it does for you today. Buy my product for what it's going to do for you tomorrow. That's all this principle is saying. And it's based on this theory that consumer decisions aren't taken to satisfy an immediate need. Sometimes it's a future objective. I mean, think about it. When you buy flowers or chocolates or sexy undergarments as a gift for a partner, sort of suggesting the possibility of enjoying secondary benefits, aren't you? Well, what about buying a car? You're a real estate agent. The car buyer starts saying, oh, man, you're a realtor. Don't forget buying that hot new Lexus to make you look more successful to your home buyers. Because now they're going to say, wow, she must be selling a lot of homes. How else can she afford that car? As the advertiser, your goal is to sell your product or service. Using a means to an end chain, you simply do it by shifting the consumer's focus to your product's ultimate benefit, its ultimate value. I call it the benefit of the benefit. Sometimes, you know, if you ask somebody in a seminar, you should try this one day. Just be like, hey, you know, why do you pay for advertising? Because then people will know who we are. Yeah, but what's the benefit of people knowing who we are? Oh, because then they'll buy something from the business. Yeah, but what's the benefit of people doing business with us? Well, then they're always quiet. Like, somebody, so you can make money. Hello. You got to remember to focus on the benefit of the benefit. It's the same thing when you're playing chess. A lot of amateurs lose when they're playing chess because they get caught up on grabbing the pieces off the board, when that is not the goal of the game. The goal of the game is to capture the king. Millionaires, make sure that you're making it clear what the core benefit of your product and service is. If you sell shovels, you got to understand people don't want a long pole with a flat piece of metal attached. But they do want the holes so they can plant beautiful trees and colorful flowers and make their homes look more attractive. If you sell the microwave oven, people don't want the big old clunky electrical box that may or may not be causing some type of cancer. What they do want is the ability to cook and eat quickly so they have more time for other things. I hope I'm making sense. No matter what you sell, the major difficulty with persuading consumers is going to be dealing with their varying degrees of product knowledge. So what you want to do is use this next step I'm going to give you, this next sort of major key, to take advantage of that. Because everybody's at different levels of product knowledge. Do you know right now some people have never even heard of what it is you do? Some of them have never even heard of the industry that you're in. You got to have some answers for them. So we call this persuasion, step by step, almost like daily seduction, right? So check it out. If you don't know what a Bugatti is, I'm going to have a hell of a time trying to sell you a Bugatti. No matter how fresh the beef, no matter how beautiful you hear you smell the leather, the beef, the leather in the car, right? No matter how smooth it rides, no matter how bright the translucent roof is, right? It does not matter how beautiful that car is. If I don't even know what it is, I can't help. So what you're doing with this step-by-step persuasion method is that you're dividing consumer knowledge and ignorance and behavior into 5 stages. And then you're providing the guidelines for persuading your prospect so they move from complete ignorance of it to making it a regular purchase or an integral part of their lifestyles. Doesn't everyone buy this? When you're aware of these stages, you'll better understand how and where to begin your sales message. So here are the stages. I'm going to give them to you real quick, and we're going to get out of here. Stage 1, pre-contemplation. People in this stage are either ignorant that you exist, like what the heck is a Bugatti, or they're unaware they need it. Step number 2 is contemplation. Now, when they get to this stage, they're aware of it. They've heard it in all the songs. I walk in a new, right? They see it all in the videos, right? So now they're aware of it. They're contemplating. Prospects in this stage have thought about using it, but they just haven't gotten to step 3 yet, which is preparation. Now, this is the planning phase. Now your prospect is thinking about buying from you, but needs more info about your product's benefits and advantages. I'd like to buy a Bugatti. Sure, it looks great. But what the heck is in it? Is it healthier, better tasting? What is the cost? Stage number 4, action. Action. Oh, success. Your prospect has arrived at the action point. Or failure. They have now gotten you to the action point, right? I'm saying failure for some crap you didn't even need. Because you know and I know that's what most people are buying most of, is keeping them in debt, a bunch of crap they do not need. So now it's time to purchase. And, here's my credit card. Give me my Bugatti, whatever it goes, right? Then comes the maintenance. Whoa. A nice place for your prospects to be is going to be where you have that meeting at every month. They continue to buy your Blue Bows without giving it a second thought, right? Your widgets, your gadgets. They continue. But that's because you have made it their choice. Now that you've helped them get through pre-contemplation, contemplation, preparation, and action, now it's just maintaining them as a customer. Now you just got to keep them. That's really the cheapest part of it. That's really the easiest part of it. That's really where the wealth comes from. Because in all those other stages, you're looking for it. So you got two different options to tackle all of this. One, you can have ads that address all 5 stages. Maybe it's just a series of videos. Maybe it's one video that starts them off like, hey, what is this? Because some people haven't heard of your product, your service. Some people haven't heard of your industry. Some people haven't heard of you. So that's what the first one does in pre-contemplation. This lets your prospects focus on whatever stage is personally relevant to them. Simply include all the details, right? Give it to them straight. And then see, and then kind of like watch what happens. After you give them all of the details, and you assume that this is somebody who might need to be fully informed about the product they know little to nothing about, by the time you get to that last stage, they should be ready to buy. The second option you have is, like I said, you can create a series of ads or videos that throughout a period of time keep on going from stage 1 to stage 5. So it can be one video or it can be a series of videos. Stage 1 would introduce the product, and then each ad would build upon the last. Each video would build upon the last, and then can begin highlighting these features and these benefits of these benefits. The objectives of both strategies is, of course, to provide your prospects with enough info and motivation to move on through the 5 stages at their own pace until they ultimately become regular customers, because that's all of our goal, to make them regular customers. Am I right? And no doubt about it, it's not even close. It's way easier to reinforce existing consumer attitudes and behaviors than to try to change somebody. Man, you better stop trying to make them think that such and such is the way it should be and start figuring out how they think it should be and then slide on in there. Well, this next strategy recognizes how hard it is for people to change. I think this is going to help you a lot. This one is called inoculation. Inoculation. How about this? Have you ever heard the saying, I think it was Nietzsche, Friedrich Nietzsche. He's one of those famous philosophers. Like, a lot of people compare, they always say that when they've read him, they always say that I remind them of him. With a lot of his real, practical kind of ways of explaining these different theories, et cetera, and so forth. So he's the one that invented what does not kill me, make me stronger. Well, listen, that's how inoculation works. I'm explaining this to you real quick, but basically the way inoculation works is you warn of an impending attack, then you make a weak attack, and it's all designed to make them come up with a real strong defense. Let's say you and your significant other are on the outs, but you want them back. And at their job, the manager is her ex, and now she's going back to that job or whatever, or, you know that the manager has been trying to, sort of talk to your ex. You got 2 options. You can, 1, get insecure and start talking about how, I know we're going to be all in your face. Man, he's lame. You can start hating on him and all of that, right? Or you can use consumer psychology, right? Here's how we'll go with consumer psychology. You would start off by warning of an impending attack. Now, you don't say it like that, right? But you say something like, oh, yeah, that's so cool. I see your manager's back at work. Man, honestly, you guys are such a cute couple. He always, and then from there, you make a weak attack. I don't know. I always felt like if you and I weren't right for each other, then he would be so great for you. He seems so nice. Now, you already know he's a jerk. You already know he's like yeah. So when you're saying all of this, what you're doing is you're making a weak attack. you know she's about to get attacked strong by this dude. So what you do is you mount a weak attack on his behalf and start talking about how great he is. And then, you know what she's going to do? She's going to start saying, like, no, he sucks. He's the worst. He's incorrigible. He never listens. He's stubborn. I cannot stand him. I can't even believe you would say that. Oh, my goodness. Now you're winning. See that? See that? So again, the 3 steps are warn of an impending attack. Please use this for good, not evil. 2, make a weak attack. And then 3, encourage a strong defense. You're seeing this all through the presidential race, right? Their line will go like, my opponent will tell you there's no way to bring down skyrocketing oil prices. He'll tell you the only way to balance the national budget is to raise your taxes. He'll tell you that it's not good enough to provide health insurance for most citizens. On and on and on. But I tell you this definitely isn't the case, and here's why. It's almost like 8 Mile, if you ever saw that. The way Eminem won the little rap battle at the end of the movie is he set himself up for it. He mounted all of the attacks himself. It just took the wind out the other guy's sails. He already addressed it. He already addressed it to all the elephants in the room. I hope that makes sense to somebody. That one was called the inoculation period. So what you want to do is make sure that you're using this in your marketing. Sometimes you want to prep your prospects in such a way that it almost looks like I'll give you a good example of this. How many of you know about Lending Tree? They tell you they'll help you find the best lender. Well, I think Geico has a tool on there where they let you compare them to all the other insurance companies. I mean, it's amazing. Millionaires, this is all we have time for this time, these 7. But listen, that last one is really insidious because what will happen is that you'll create more critical consumers, but critical consumers that are predisposed to your products. It's almost like a Ralph Nader approach, if y'all remember the big consumers advocate. It builds incredible trust. It builds phenomenal credibility, and it makes you take a real hard look at what you're selling. What do you do better, faster, easier? Inoculate your prospects by bringing these advantages to light, and then watch how you win them over. I mean, it's not even a question. Millionaires, this was episode number 144 of Obsessive Success. I hope this was helpful to you. The replay will be posted on We Are Millionaire Minded on our Facebook page, our fan page on Facebook. Look for We Are Millionaire Minded. You'll know it. You'll see our logo as the avatar. Either your mind has expanded, boy, to match your goals, or your goals will just start to shrink to match your mind. I hope this was helpful for you. If it was, please spread the word. Let's change the world. Millionaires, I love you. I'll see you in the morning, and let's grow.